Good morning, all, depending when you're watching this. Good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to talk about Mewtwo. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is not your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill Mewtwo. This is an Armoured Mewtwo. It is the Armoured Mewtwo promo, which is going to be coming around. It was revealed, I believe, in Korokoro magazine. And it's been given out as a movie promo in Japan, except I'm fairly sure you're also getting the reprinted Ancient Mew, so kinda want to go to Japan to see this movie? Feels like whatever we get out here is not gonna be anywhere near as good. Boo, hiss, etc. So, Armoured Mewtwo then, is it any good? Well, it's got 120 HP, and we're going to talk about this again when we get to the attack cost, but there is a gigantic difference between 120 and 130 in the Pokemon TCG. There are a whole bunch of Pokemon out there that have 120, like Blacephalon, but then there's a whole bunch that have 130, like Buzzwole. And there's a whole bunch of Pokemon out there that do 120, like Buzzwole and Silvally, etc. So having 130 rather than 120 will save you a bunch of KOs. This falls on the lower end. Boo. Plus, it's weak to Psychic. And look, Mewtwo and Mew looks like it's going to be a phenomenal card. Didn't win the big championship in Japan, but I know it had a really good showing and did very well indeed. But it didn't quite win. But it's still amazing, and it's weak to Psychic. That means that people are going to be playing Psychic to try and take it down, and if they're playing Psychic, they're going to be hitting you for weakness as well. Yes, I know Giratina GX will remove Psychic weakness from your Pokemon, but I also know that Power Plant will remove Giratina's ability, and that's on your opponent's turn. So if your opponent wants to hit for weakness, they just pay a Power Plant, and they can. It's in their control. It's happening on their turn. That makes me sad. Retreat cost of 3 means you're not using buff padding, that really sucks. And being a Psychic Pokemon means that you're hitting Mewtwo and Mew for weakness, which is incredibly relevant. Now there is only one attack here, and our translation does come from the lovely David Hockman. He's a lovely man. I hit him up, I said, David, I've seen this card, I don't know what it does. And David said, Ross, let me help you out. It's not exactly how the conversation went, but near as darn it. 3 Psychic Energy, 130 damage. This Pokemon cannot attack during your next turn. Now, I know that the not attacking during your next turn sounds kind of bad, but Reshiram and Charizard can't attack during your next turn when it uses a main attack anyway. And that's not stopped it. Or the billion other Pokemon that have used it, like Volcanion and Lapras for argument's sake. So don't worry about that. Worry about the fact that you're doing 130. And straight off the bat, we need to talk about Mewtwo and Mew, because Mewtwo and Mew has 270 HP. Well, that's a lot of HP, ladies and gentlemen, but the thing is, this actually works out rather beautifully. Now look, 130 won't actually get a KO. Doubled with weakness, it will put them up to 260, which means they will survive with 10 HP remaining, which sounds kind of bad. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, Shrine of Punishment is a thing. And that's going to help you out here. Because Shrine of Punishment puts 10 damage on, then you hit 260. With the Shrine of Punishment, your opponent's Mewtwo and Mew will go down. You're getting a one-hit KO. This is awesome. And don't be worrying about the attack cost. There was a time a while ago, I remember when stuff like Toxapex GX was being revealed. And I kept saying stuff like, look, we don't have any good way to accelerate Psychic Energy, but I'd always say, well, if we ever get a way, now that might change things. Well, good news. We've got a way. We've got Malamar. Now, you could put Welder up here, and I think you probably should, but outside of that, Malamar is the best energy acceleration we've got. Psychic has become that type where we don't mind what the energy cost is, because we can pay it. And this slots into Malamar decks beautifully. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're hitting for weakness, even on Tag Team GXs, we're good, ladies and gentlemen. We are good. Mark and Alolan Mark, yeah, he gone. Marshadow and Matchup, yeah, they gone. And yes, I know you might need to use the odd Shrine of Punishment, but I don't really care. There's a bunch of Tag Team GXs that are weak to Psychic, and you're getting all of them, and that is wonderful and lovely and beautiful and brilliant and fun. But remember how I started the video talking about the whole 120 versus 130 argument? Well, here you're hitting 130. And for something like Buzzwole that's weak, it's going to be kind of irrelevant. But how about White Kyurem? How about Granbull? How about the billion other Pokemon that have 130 HP that you're going to be able to take down now in a single hit that you wouldn't be able to do so before? Hitting 130 is beautiful. I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that I think Fossil decks are going to get a whole heap better. And oh look, Aerodactyl's got 130 HP. Yeah, you can take him down. So you're hitting the right amount of damage here. The occasional need for Shrine of Punishment aside, you're hitting a really good weakness and you're hitting a great amount of damage. It is wonderful. Incidentally, there is an issue potentially in, remember when I mentioned Jirachi? Well, your opponent might be playing Mewtwo and Mew with their own Jirachi, which means you're the one that needs to play Power Plant so that they're not actually able to take away their weakness. And obviously you can't play Shrine of Punishment and Power Plant at the same time. But Shrine of Punishment doesn't have to be the turn you attack. Just make sure it drops 10 damage at some point, and then you can play Power Plant, turn off Jirachi, boom, KO, yay, etc. Here's the thing. I'm not sure we need Armoured Mewtwo. Because you see, I've spent the last few minutes telling you it's good, and it is. And it's a good type, and it hits a good number, and we can accelerate the energy. Everything I've said is true. The problem is we've got other options. And one of the best among them is actually Mewtwo. The Mewtwo from Detective Pikachu. Now this has 130 rather than 120, which puts it over the limit like we mentioned. Same retreat cost, same weakness, same typing. And for the same cost, basically, because you're going to be using Basic Psychic with Malamar, you do 130. Now, to be fair, you have to discard 2 energy from Mewtwo, whereas you don't from Armoured Mewtwo, and that can make a difference even in trying to retreat next turn, because you won't have enough to retreat, whereas Armoured Mewtwo will. And it means you can't attack turn after turn, but then again, Armoured Mewtwo, you can't attack turn after turn anyway, so that doesn't really matter. And Mewtwo's got the first attack, Psyjack, 30 damage for 2 energy, and you get to turn off one of the defending Pokemon's attacks. It's not the best attack ever, but you've got an extra 10 HP, an extra attack which could be kind of useful, and the main attack is basically analogous. So actually, that could potentially be better. And then, of course, we've got Giratina. Now, Giratina is generally the one that sees play at the moment. Giratina, again, has 130 HP. And again, for free energy, it can do 130 damage. Now, you do have to put 4 damage counters on one of your Pokemon. And maybe you're playing something like Spiritomb from Unbroken Bond, which can really take advantage of having the damage on it. But I mean, look, I've played with and against Giratina many, many times, as I'm sure have most of you. How many times has that 4 damage counters really been crucial and pivotal to the match? How many times has it allowed a key KO that the person wouldn't have got anyway? In my experience, not that many. And Giratina's got the amazing ability, which it means you can put it from the discard pile onto the bench and drop 1 damage counter onto each of 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it kind of does more damage, and it can attack next turn. Yes, you've got to drop the 4 damage counters, but whereas the Mewtwo from Diamond and Pearl has to discard energy, and Armoured Mewtwo can't attack next turn, this can just keep attacking. I like Armoured Mewtwo. I like the typing, I like the attack. I like the weakness it hits. The problem is, I think we've got better options. I'm not sure how often I'm playing this over Giratina or even Detective Pikachu Mewtwo. So for that reason, I'm giving it 3 Wassies. It is a good card. I like it very much. And maybe when the next rotation hits and we lose Giratina, maybe it's worth it. But then again, we're also going to be losing Malamar, so maybe you're not going to be able to play it anyway. I have got nothing against this card, and I think there's an awful lot to like about it. I can just identify 2 cards that I would rather play over it in essentially any situation, and that means that I don't think I can wholeheartedly recommend it. But I do think I'd like to know how you feel about it, so please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice, you know the deal. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/TheWassie. patreon.com/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus pods and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WhatsHePlays, where we talk about games, even though they don't have Pokemon in, but they're fun, you should try it. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.